In this episode, we are going to pilot, drive, and ride our way through another list of the raddest rides in 80s action figures. So, stick around. Hello, fellow nostalgia seekers, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name is Rob, and this is yet another installment of the raddest rides in 80s action figures. This is the 15th installment, and there are no signs of slowing down because there were absolutely hundreds on top of hundreds of awesome vehicles that were made for various action figures throughout the 1980s. So, without further ado, let's get to number one. Number one on the list comes from Filmation's Ghostbusters toy line based on their cartoon. This is the Time Hopper, and it was a time machine that was made for the 30th century ghost-busting sorceress Futura. Yes, I said that right, a 30th century ghost-busting sorceress. Anyway, this time-traveling, futuristic motorcycle featured light-up action that required 2 AA batteries. One of the things that really is awesome-looking about it, and slightly macabre, is the ribcage design that leads up to the handlebars. Now, I don't know where they get off calling this a motorcycle at all. It doesn't have wheels, it doesn't have a seat, it just has handlebars, and you stand to pilot it, which doesn't seem very safe as you're piloting your way through the corridors of time and all that. Anyway, this was made by Shapper in 1986, which produced all of the Filmation Ghostbusters toys. Number two on the list comes from Sparkle Toy Company's 1985 toy line, Defenders of the Planets, and it is the Lion Steed. Now, the first thing that I have to comment on is it's not very lion-y at all. The only lion-esque feature that it has is kind of shaggy fur around the head portion, but other than that, it's all dinosaur, all thunder lizard, and that's pretty cool. I love the gold paint scheme on it, and this is definitely a steed that would fit any of your Masters of the Universe or figures of that size and scale. Another thing that I just feel like I have to comment on, and I don't know why, but that saddle, I've seen that somewhere before. I wonder where. Anyway, this is yet another one of those toy lines that took heavy inspiration from Masters of the Universe and produced a lot of really neat accessories, vehicles, and steeds that would go along with your He-Man collection. So I give them super props for that because they are just extending and expanding your Masters of the Universe playtime universe. Number three on the list comes from the world of Mattel's Captain Power, and it was released in 1987. This is the Magna Cycle. The Magna Cycle was a relatively small vehicle that had a wind-up functionality. I honestly wish I knew more about this vehicle, but I'm going by sight alone, and it looks really awesome. From what I can kind of see, it looks like the wind-up mechanism is on the back. It's kind of like just a knob that kind of looks like a thruster, if you will. But anyway, this is one of those vehicles that I look at and I instantly can see G.I. Joe characters just tooling around in it. And the one thing that really stands out is all the weaponry. It has a huge cannon on the back, a couple cannons on the side, and from what I can see online, it comes with a bag of extra weapons and accessories, which is always awesome to get a bonus like that. Now, this doesn't feature any of the cool TV blaster functionality that some of the more bigger and expensive Captain Power vehicles had at the time, but who cares? This thing looks great, and like I said, would fit seamlessly within your G.I. Joe Playtime universe, which, yeah, I'm always looking at that because G.I. Joe's awesome. So anyway, let's get to the next vehicle. Our fourth radical ride kinda doesn't fit into the realm of action figures, but it definitely fits into the realm of a usable vehicle for a toy from the 80s that for some reason I have a big nostalgia gush over, even though I never had any. But it is the color buggy for Rainbow Bright that was released by Mattel in 1983. Like I said, I for some reason had this nostalgic draw to Rainbow Bright, even though I didn't have any of them. I didn't know anyone that had any of them, but I remember watching the cartoon and of course seeing all the wonderful commercials on TV at the time. Anyway, the color buggy is kind of like a bigger version of the Cloud Car from the Care Bears, which, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of that. But it features, you know, colorful wheels, a like padded headrest that's very colorful as well, an antenna with a colorful flag. I mean, again, didn't have any of them. It's definitely, you know, a girl's toy, but yeah, something about them that I really dig. And I was always a fan of these little star dudes. I just think they're so cool looking and a great cute design. But yeah, if you think about it, that vehicle is made to like put one of these in, or Rainbow Bright in, or like the smaller figures in, or plushes, or whatever you want to call them. So this thing is pretty massive. The packaging says it's 13 inches long. So I guess in the doll scale, that's pretty typical, but as far as action figures go, that's massive. I mean, but that would probably be a good scale to put your Thundercats figures in, you know, give Panthro a day off from piloting the Thunder Tank, and drive the color buggy around for a while. I think Lion-O would dig that. Anyway, let's get to our final vehicle. Our fifth and final vehicle comes from a cartoon that I remember really digging when I was a kid, and that was the Bionic 6. This is the Mules van, and Mules is a forced acronym which stands for Mobile Utility Energizing Station. This is a mobile headquarters, if you will. I mean, I probably could have put it on the Forgotten Playsets line, but this is definitely a vehicle. It is a very streamlined, futuristic RV that had a pretty lofty goal, because a lot of the features required you to buy the other smaller vehicles in the toy line, like the Quad Runner and motorcycle, because the front of the van would open up for the four-wheeler to shoot out of, and there was actually like a raising platform for the motorcycle in the back of the RV. Mules van, sorry. So, like I said, it's kind of a lofty goal for LJN to say, to get all the awesome features of this vehicle, you need to buy the other vehicles. Yeah, and of course, we all know how the toy line fared, unfortunately. Not very well. But the figures were die-cast in parts, and yeah, I give super props to that for LJN for trying something different. But anyway, this van also features movable walls, which kind of plays into the whole playset vibe that this thing gives off. It has like cool computer panels and reel-to-reels and old school computer tech all over this thing. But the one thing that I really dig about it is, like I said, that streamlined futuristic look of it. I mean, again, this is to the scale that this would fit G.I. Joe or any of your 3 3/4 inch figures. So I always give like extra bonus points for that, especially if I feel like it could just blend in seamlessly into the G.I. Joe Playtime universe. But anyway, that's enough about me yapping about it. Let's check out the original commercial from all the way back in 1986.
Die-Cast. The Bionic 6 saga continues. Eat bricks, Bionic 6. Check that it's saved by the Bionic Van, Bionic Dirt Bike, Bionic Quad Runner. Bionic Oh no! Evil Scarab escapes this time from the Bionic 6.
Bionic 6. Figures and vehicles each sold separately. It's a grand total.
Okay, folks, that was yet another installment of the Raddest Rides in 80s action figures. Of course, I threw a detour in there with including Rainbow Bright, which isn't really an action figure, but again, I somehow have a nostalgic magnetism towards Rainbow Bright, and, you know, I'm secure enough to talk about it and to say I would dig a Rainbow Bright toy in my collection today. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. You got something to say? Please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everybody. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this, or any of the other episodes that YouTube is recommending, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you will be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, keep being rad, and stay dorky.